Your higher price is an indication of the value you create. Hey, it's Iannarino, thesalesblog.com, right here, youtube.com/Iannarino, author of The Only Sales Guide You'll Ever Need and The Lost Art of Closing. And I've got a letter today over LinkedIn on the InMail from Steve. And Steve says, okay, 2 questions if you don't mind. During all my reading and training, you and all the greats, including you, have said it's not about the price and you need to sell value and your value add. I do mortgage financing, and if I'm 0.25 or 0.375 or even 0.50 off the rate of my competitors, then I lose deals, especially if they are large loan amounts. How do you overcome this? How do you sell service if the big banks are beating me on rates? And no, I have no interest in working at the big banks. Please advise. Hope this finds you well. Best, Steve. Okay, Steve, it's a great question, and I'm going to give you an answer that may be difficult, but there's a reason that people who work in sales and study sales and write about sales and coach and train and teach and develop people to sell tell you that you have to create greater value is because there's only 3 strategies you can choose as a business. The first one is to always have the lowest price. That's what Walmart does. That's what Amazon does. The second one is to always have the best product. That's what Apple does. Samsung used to do that, but then when you can't take your phone on an airplane, they don't do that anymore. So Apple has the best product. The third choice is customer intimacy, which means I'm not always going to have the best product, and I'm not always going to have the lowest price. I'm going to have the best combination of things. And that's what you're doing. But the problem you may be having is that some people want to believe that their price has to be the same as their competitors. And some people believe that they have to wait to disclose that price until later in the sales cycle or in the process. So here's the thing. If you wait and you explain your pricing at the end of the process, you're going to be compared to someone else in a negative way because somebody's going to say, wow, you're 25 basis points higher than your competitor. The best way to handle this is when you first sit down to say, I'd love to tell you a little bit about what makes me different. And what you'll find out is that my price is going to be a little bit higher than my competitors, but that you're going to get high trust, high caring, high value, and I'm going to give you a different level of service that's going to be worth paying more for. Can I share that with you? You want to lead with your higher price and say, look, what I'm going to do is different, it's going to be better. And then you have to start justifying that with the way that you behave through the sales process. How much care do you give people? How much time do you give them? How much attention do you give them? How much insight do you have? How much are you going to help make this process easier for them? How much are you going to help them avoid pitfalls and not have challenges that they're going to have if they go with a big bank or with somebody whose model is not high caring, high value, high trust? You need to demonstrate that, but you need to lead with your higher price. You don't want to hide it until later on and then spring it on people, because then they're like, wow, I got 2 other quotes and they're way lower than yours. Just tell them right out of the gate, my price is going to be a little bit higher, but most people think it's worth it when I explain to them the value. Can I do that? That's the best way to approach a higher price. And I want you to remember something about your higher price. Your higher price is your commitment to create greater value. And I want to give you this in one other way for you to think about this. You never walk onto a Mercedes car lot and have a Mercedes dealer walk up to you and say, hey, listen, Steve, I want to apologize that our price is so much higher than a Kia. They never say that. Why? Because they're not going to apologize for having something better, right? They're just not going to do that. You'll never go into a great steakhouse like a Smith & Wollensky's or an Emeril's or something like that and have them say, I'm so sorry that our food costs more than Texas Roadhouse because, it's a steak, right? It's not a steak. It's a completely different steak in a completely different setting with a completely different experience, and it's worth paying more for. And that's what you are. You're worth paying more for. So you have to embrace your higher price, which I've said here before, and you have to understand it's your commitment to create greater value, and you have to start demonstrating that right out of the gate. I'm Anthony Iannarino. This is Everyday.